Amazing. What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing? Um, let me Okay. Okay, that's perfect. Hey guys, what's going on? Um, hope you guys are doing well. Hope your day was going well. Yes, we are doing this broadcast a little later. That's only because I had to handle some business earlier. But for the ones that want to join, you're more than gladly to join. Sit back and watch. If you like to post a comment, I will make sure that the comment that you post will be highlighted for everyone else to see. Because the one thing that I like more than anything else is participation. Okay, but hope you guys are doing well. Um, in this lovely Tuesday, brisk. Uh, Tuesday was a bit brisk, but hey, I rather take the brisk cold than snow. And we're also what is this March 7th, so we're about a couple weeks away from spring. So eventually, the cold weather will disseminate. I mean, will say disseminate. The cold weather will decrease, and we will start to get into some much more needed warmer weather. Plus, I'm a spring baby too, so I don't mind the spring. Amazing. But obviously, you guys see the title above. This may be a bit controversial, not necessarily to me because I understand what's going on, and I'll be able to explain it to you guys. And I think for the people that um that tune in, and for the people who follow me, for the people who understand where I come from, this wouldn't be anything new. But for the people that are just joining me and are following me, this may be taken back by the title, but hopefully by the time we get through the live broadcast, you will understand exactly where I come from. Now, the topic is a simple topic for people who understand me and understand what I speak about and what I stand for. And what I stand for are American people and for the rights of American people and for Americans not to take for granted the rights that they have, considering the fact that there are there are people in other countries that wish they would be in the same position that we are in. And why am I bringing this up? Well, it's simple. Um, Time and time again, I tend to hear Americans, mainly Black Americans, wimp and whine and complain and moan and bitch about the social injustices that they are experiencing in America, a free country, a free country that every single person who is an American enjoys, including the non-Americans that are here. You know, the illegal aliens, the 100,000 illegal aliens that are pouring into our country every single month. They understand how great it is to be in this country because If not, they wouldn't be breaking their necks to enter this country illegally. Okay. So the reason why I am bringing this up is because far often you hear about the blacks whimp and whine and complain about the social injustices that they are experiencing, the racism and the white supremacy, the systemic racism that's holding them back from being, I mean, from them achieving the American dream and being able to achieve the very dreams that every single American isn't is has the opportunity to experience. Yet you never ever hear about the blacks um, holding themselves accountable for the very actions that are holding them back from achieving the American dream, such as being on welfare, such as the black on black homicides, such as the having children out of wedlock. 77% of black babies being born out of wedlock. You never ever hear them bringing up the these the reasons as of why they are being held back and not being able to enjoy the very freedoms and the very opportunities that can give them the American dream. And it's because they have been brainwashed to believe that it is the quote unquote white man that is holding them back. Well, I have a prime example as of why this is very important because it seems to be that it's the same blacks that are wimping and whining and complaining about this are also the same blacks that are also putting themselves in a position to not move forward and not advance and actually put themselves in a great position to live the American dream. Such as an example of this will be last week where there was 6 homicides in the city of Philadelphia. Now we know Philadelphia um, has a major demographic of black folks, and the city of Philadelphia has experienced a rising intake of homicides. All right. Just for example, last year, 532 people. Well, I'm sorry, this is 2023. So in 2022, 503 people were killed in the city of Philadelphia, a city that I lived in. 503 people were killed in the city of Philadelphia. 84% of those victims were black. And the perpetrators, obviously, the vast majority of the perpetrators uh, were were black. However, a lot of the cases that these black victims of homicide that were involved in, these cases tend to be unsolved because the very people who know the perpetrators refuse to cooperate with the police and bring them justice. Now, a quick example of this will be exactly what happened over the weekend, and I'm going to give you guys a little snippet of this. So, care to join? And I will also interject as I go. Here we go.
Killed in a surge of gunfire in neighborhoods across the city. News tonight is the growing list of names as police work to identify the victims of a brutally violent weekend in Philadelphia. In all, at least 6 people were killed in a surge of gunfire in neighborhoods across the city. 5 of them Saturday alone. Among those killed, a 14-year-old boy. And as police work to sort out each of the many crime scenes, no one has yet been arrested. Action News reporter John Paul joining us live outside police headquarters tonight. John, these numbers are simply staggering.
Brian, that's a good way to put it. They are staggering. It was a violent.
It's amazing. Six people were killed over the weekend. Six people. Six people killed for no reason at all. And also keep in mind, notice when they said that six people were killed, and notice that they didn't want to identify the race of these people, because we all know that. And the reason why they're doing this is because they don't want you to know that the race of these people were black. But as you see these as you see, the very victims families that are speaking, and the community activists that are speaking, you can always identify that these very people that were killed were obviously black, and that the perpetrators of this were obviously black as well.
Weekend across Philadelphia. Police are investigating a number of shootings. That includes at least 6 homicides, and we know a 14-year-old was killed in one of those shootings. Bullet casings littered Haddington Street in Overbrook Saturday night. Nearly 30 bullets fired, leaving 14-year-old Anthony Pinkney dead. The youngest victim of a deadly weekend in Philadelphia, claiming the lives of at least 6 people on Saturday night and Sunday morning. Our data journalism team uncovered that over the last 3 years, Saturdays are typically the deadliest day of the week, closely followed by Sunday and Monday. The violence kept police busy, and the CARES responders who help families affected by violence.
No sooner than I'm leaving off of my block, I get another alert, another homicide in the 39th Police District.
Exactly. And what the hell are you people doing about it? Oh, nothing at all. And that's the reason why they're continuing to do it. Why do you think these homicides are constantly happening? Why have these homicides constantly have been increasing over the years, over and over and over again in the city of Philadelphia? I wonder why. All of you people are community activists. You people are supposed to be stopping this, right? All of these community activists, and no one can come up with a solution as to why the blacks are constantly killing each other. Okay.
Today, the district attorney, city officials, and nonprofits held a news conference to talk about the string of violence this weekend and how to combat the surge.
It feels like gun violence is happening everywhere. It's not. Gun violence is happening in the same places over and
Just keep in mind, this is a black woman. She's a Democrat, and is part of the Philadelphia City Council. I just want you guys just to keep this in mind. The very people that are in control of the city, the very people who make the policies for the city. These are very people that are in control, and they're the ones that are supposed to be curbing this so-called gun violence, right? Just keep in mind, this is a black woman. She's a Democrat, and she is the part of the Philadelphia City Council. Just let that marinate.
over and over again.
The DA urged groups to apply for violence prevention grants before we see warmer weather, worried that the violence will only get worse. These grants go to the community.
Wait, fill it up. What is the city grants? They're giving out grants to these organizations. Oh, this should be good.
Based groups that have a positive impact.
Wait, let me
Worried that the violence will only get worse. These grants go to the community-based groups that have a positive impact.
I'm going to set this
It's
back
not.
just a little bit.
Gun violence is happening in the same places over and over and over again.
The DA urged groups to apply for violence prevention grants before we see warmer weather, worried that the violence will only get worse. These grants go to the community-based groups that have a positive impact. 43 programs have already received $950,000.
Ooh, almost $1 million. You know what? I think I should sign up for that too. Let me sign up for that so that I can come up with some type of bogus organization just to give black people, just to give the blacks a whole bunch of lip service just so that I can receive, just so I could put money in my pocket to so that I could be able to spew the very thing that is counterproductive in their lives. Let Please, I mean, where can I sign up just to receive tax paying dollars just so just so I can give the blacks just so that I can spew the same nonsense to the blacks, making them believe that it's the system that that's making them do this. It's the system. I mean, where's my money? I honestly, I should do that. Look at the amount of money that they're just throwing away. They're just throwing away tax-paying dollars to a bunch of organizations that want to pretend that they actually care about the so-called gun violence in Philadelphia. Which, by the way, um, Philadelphia does not have a gun violence problem. Philadelphia has a people violence problem. It has nothing to do with guns. But let's continue.
And the DA wants to hand out another $250,000, all the money seized from crimes. The Eco Foundation received some of that money and helps educate and serve the community and heal from trauma.
It's not knowing how to manage our emotions, not knowing how to manage our feelings.
Think about I'm sorry. Look at this guy. I mean, look at this guy. Do you really think that a guy that looks like a female is actually going to um solve the very violence that's occurring in Philadelphia, that is being committed by the blacks? Do you think that an overweight guy that has uh, I mean that has a multicolored dreads on his head is really going to solve the problems that are happening that are happening in the black community in the city of Philadelphia? I want you guys to leave a comment and ask and let me know. Just let me know.
So far this year in the city of Philadelphia, there have been 79 homicides, but that is actually a 16% drop over this time last year.
Oh, guys. Okay. Woo! Breaking news. Huge, huge improvement. Granted, there were 79 homicides so far committed in the city of Philadelphia, but don't worry. Compared to the amount of homicides last year, it is a 16% drop. That's improvement. That's improvement. Okay? There were less homicides last year than this year, and it dropped by 16%. Okay. I guess that's a great improvement to them. The only issue that I have with that is that homicide is an intentional act to take somebody's life. So I don't understand how 79 homicides is is a is a drastic improvement from the amount of homicides that occurred last year. If you have one homicide, that's one homicide too many. Why is it that we have any homicides at all? Why do we have 79 homicides in Philadelphia? Why? Why do we have 79? Let alone why do we even have one homicide? When we all know that it's an intentional act. It's not like it's an accident, it's an intentional act to take somebody's life. Okay. Let's get rid of this. So, I wanted to show that because I constantly hear, um, I mean, you hear about these homicides, and the reason why these homicides tend to occur, at least according to what I'm constantly hearing from the blacks, is that they have literally no, they have nothing to do. Never mind the behavior. The blacks have nothing to do. That's the reason why black people are killing each other. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. The blacks have nothing to do. That's the reason why they're going out and they are killing each other. Okay? And trust me, this is not coming from me. In case if you didn't know, there are several activists that are looking to pool tax-paying dollars from Philadelphians and put it into their own nonprofit organizations that want to give the blacks hope and something to do. And in case and one of these examples is a man, I believe he goes by the name of Gary, I think it's Gary Wills, who is coming up with a interesting slogan. It's called "Shoot Basketballs, Not People." And he thinks that this is supposed to curb the vast majority of the gun violence that's occurring in Philadelphia. And if you don't believe me, uh, just listen to his message.
Age and younger, they're losing their lives and they didn't have anything.
Basketball was really a sanctuary where I can just get away and be at peace. My name is Gary Mills, and I'm the founder of Shoot Basketballs, Not People. It's a nonprofit organization that's based out of Philadelphia. Our mission is to use basketball as a vehicle to change and save lives. The violence in Philadelphia, I think, comes from lack of resources, I think, with any other major inner city. That's why, because a lot of kids don't have the proper.
Listen, I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to be laughing at this, but I think the message is just so asinine, and this is the reason why black people are suffering today. This is the reason why black people, as a class, as a race, are falling behind among other races because of this type of mentality. Now, I mean, Gary, he seems like a genuine guy. I don't he doesn't seem like one of these race baiters that are just looking to profit off of the expense of these brainwashed black people's emotions. It looks like he's really trying to make a difference in his neighborhood along with the city. He seems like the type of person that's also fed up with the violence. But I don't understand how shooting basketballs is going to stop the blacks from shooting each other. But let's move on.
Resources.
How you feeling, y'all?
We see kids that are his age and younger, they're losing their lives and they didn't have anything to do. Like they weren't in a program that's organized to help them kind of stay off of the streets. It's so.
Well, why are they on the streets in the first place? Can you answer that? Why are they in the streets in the first place? I mean, if they came from a two-parent household, why would they be in the streets? Oh, she probably can't answer that because she's probably a single mother herself. Let's move on.
Sad and it's very scary with your teenager out here and you don't know if they're going to come home or not. So it's important to have them going somewhere where they're safe.
Gun violence is like a real big issue, at least in Philly. People getting shot, always being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And sometimes it just happens like the bullet wasn't even meant for certain people. So you never know, it's just a fear.
Gary did a good thing with this program by taking all the kids in, just helping us basketball, being scholars, just make sure he's on the right path. So I really did appreciate that.
I think Philadelphia just needs to go into a direction of being more innovative to get kids actively involved again outside. I'd always teach my kids to go above and beyond, and when it's your turn to shine, you just shine.
Okay, guys, so you heard it for yourselves. Shoot basketballs, not people. That's this man's message. Shoot basketballs, not people. As if the blacks, as if the only thing that will keep the blacks from shooting each other is if they pick up a basketball and shoot it. Amazing. Well, I guess that shows you how much he thinks about the blacks. Doesn't he clearly doesn't think too high of them if you think that the only thing that black people are capable of doing that is actually positive that would stop them from being violent is for them to pick up a basketball and shoot it. So what are you trying to say, Mr. Willis? Mr. Wills, are you trying to say that the only thing that black people are capable of doing that will be productive in society is playing basketball? Really? That's the only thing that black people are capable of doing. You know, I would love to for him to I would love to have an interview. I mean, I would love to speak with him. So sometime this week I will reach out to him and hopefully he may even be a guest on my show. I think it'll be amazing for me to have it and to have a nice dialogue with him to where I could be able to pick his brain and understand and know where he's coming from. When he comes out with a message like that, because that's the same type of message that the other activists have been saying. I mean, that type of message is similar to stop the violence, increase the peace, and yet the violence has continued to escalate over the years in Philadelphia. In Philadelphia. And clearly this slogan of shoot basketballs, not people, has to be the dumbest slogan that this is the dumbest and anti-violence message that I've ever heard of in my lifetime. I've heard of plenty. This has to be the dumbest. And not only that, but it stereotypes black folks. Come on, I thought these people love black people. And if you love black people, then why are you putting them in a box as if they have to do this one particular thing in order to curb the violence that is occurring in Philadelphia? It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It is. And again, look, it sounds like the guy means well. But again, I'm gonna have a talk with this man because I want to know where did he come up with this idea that this is actually going to stop um the killing, I mean the vast majority of killing that is being committed by the blacks among themselves. How is this going to stop the massive black on black shootings, the black on black mass shootings that are occurring every single week that are leaving multiple people dead? I mean, you just heard it over the weekend. Six people were killed over the weekend. Six people were killed. And this is something that the blacks love to sweep under the rug. And I promise you, the same people that support Black Lives Matter and scream Black Lives Matter are the same people that are killing other black people. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Do you want me to say that again? No problem. The same blacks that are shooting and killing other blacks are the same ones that are screaming Black Lives Matter. Ooh, the irony. Ooh, the irony. And not to mention the same blacks that witnessed other blacks killing these blacks will not only remain quiet, but they will show up to the funeral. They will hug the grieving mother, the grieving father, the grieving brother, the grieving cousin. and so on and so on. All right. They will show up to pretend as if they cared about the slain loved one that they in which they knew the perpetrator that was responsible for committing the act upon the slain loved one. But don't worry, they'll show up to the funeral. They will hug the grieving family. They will eat the food at the funeral because you have to feed the blacks at the funeral, otherwise the blacks will not show up. They'll do all of this knowing the fact that they refuse to bring the very person that was responsible for the act to justice. And they'll do all this while screaming Black Lives Matter. Amazing. It's amazing. Okay? Here is the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is black people kill each other not because of lack of resources. As a matter of fact, there's something that he mentioned in this stream, and I'm going to play it again just so that I can be able to highlight it, and then I'll interject on it. I want you guys to take a listen to this.
Basketball was really a sanctuary where I can just get away and be at peace. My name is Gary Mills, and I'm the founder of Shoe Basketball. It's not people. It's a nonprofit organization that's based out of Philadelphia. Our mission is to use basketball as a vehicle to change and save lives. The violence in Philadelphia, I think, comes from lack of resources. I think with
Okay. No, notice what he said. He said the violence from Philadelphia comes from a lack of resources. Okay, Gary, lack of resources. 41% of blacks are eligible to receive about $800 billion worth of resources, free resources. $800 billion. That includes Medicare, Medicaid, um, public housing, food stamps, although they call it SNAP now, and so forth. All of this is free stuff. 41% of blacks are are not only eligible but have signed but are already um, assigned to $800 billion worth of resources. So when you speak about resources, he really needs to be very, very, very specific as far as what type of resources the blacks are lacking. Because the blacks are getting about $800 billion worth of resources. 41% of blacks are are already entitled to these free resources. So he needs to be very specific in the type of resources that they're lacking because what he's saying is very vague and it makes no sense at all.
any other major inner city. That's why, because a lot of kids don't have the proper resources.
How you feeling, guy?
We see
Proper resources such as what? What are these proper resources? I mean, if you're talking about housing, the blacks, 41% of the blacks are already in public housing, subsidized housing, a vast majority of the housing that's paid by we the people. Okay? If you're talking about food stamps, billions of dollars, 41% of the blacks are already getting food stamps or the WIC card, whatever you want to call it. So what type of resources are they lacking? The only type of resources that these blacks that are engaging in this type of violence, the only resources that they're lacking seems to be the resource of a two-parent household in the family. Once again, when you have 77% of black babies born out of wedlock, you already have a community of individuals and not a community of families. These blacks, these black men are being raised by their mothers who are intentionally keeping the fathers away from them. They grow resentment because of that, and then that resorts them to violent measures that includes wanting to harm or kill people with a gun. That's the issue. That's the problem. So there's not enough basketballs that the blacks can play that or there's not enough basketballs in the world that the blacks can shoot that will prevent them from wanting to pick up a gun and shoot another black person. You want to know why? You really want to know why? Okay, here's why. The real reason why is because the blacks are children of Satan. Black people do not kill each other due to lack of resources. They are doing it because Satan is their daddy. These blacks are evil. Very, very evil. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second. There. It's a little better. Okay. That is the reason why blacks are killing each other. It has nothing to do with resources. That's bullshit. And you know it. The reason why the blacks are killing each other is because Satan is their daddy. These blacks are evil, and evil comes from anger. And the anger that they are that that they that they are that they are presenting, the anger that is within them, that has been festering within them, comes from the lack of fathers in the household. And why is that? Okay, well, let's get to it. The reason why these young black men are angry is because the reason why they're angry is obviously because of the lack of patriarchy and hierarchy that are supposed to exist in the household. And why is that? Simple, because their mothers are sluts. Their black mothers care more about becoming sluts and 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 having and being and enjoying the action of being a slut rather than becoming a responsible mother and a worthy wife to these children. Exactly. They did it the wrong way. But these black mothers can care less about the very children that they're bringing into this world because truth be told, they only wanted to have sex out of the idea of the pleasure in having sex rather than becoming a responsible mother. These black women were sluts. They decided to carry before they married. They did it backwards. They wind up opening their legs like the chief sluts that they were and allowing men men who did not qualify as worthy fathers or husbands and decided to procreate children with them. Therefore, you have children who were born out of accident. You have children that were born by accident and not planned. And these black mothers wind up growing resentment for these children, mainly because they couldn't keep the very man that they chose to procreate a child with. And therefore, these mothers do not spend any time raising their children, nor nor are they qualified to actually raise these young boys. So instead, they use them as um a cash cow for a check from the government. And that's all they are to these children. They constantly remind the children that the father doesn't want them, even if the father wants to do everything in their power to be with the children. The mother will use the children against the father just so they can be able to get even with the father at the expense of the emotion of the children. They're literally cutting off their nose to spite their face. And then these children wind up growing resentment because they have no guidance from the very father figure that they need in the household. So they wind up going out and getting it elsewhere. And where do they wind up getting it? In the streets, in gangs. They wind up joining other lost boys who are also looking for the guidance of a father. And they wind up joining these groups that wind up um exploding their anger upon society. You want to know what I call gang members? Mainly mainly the blacks that are responsible for all of the black on black homicide that's occurring in Philadelphia. Lost little puppies. These are people that are looking for the love and the guidance of a father, and they can't get it because they were born out of mothers that chose to be sluts rather than to be responsible mothers. And keep in mind, these black women are a bunch of sluts that could care less about their children. Hence, these children wind up engaging in niggerish behavior, and they're doing it out of anger. I rest my case. There's the problem. There's the problem. There lays the issue. But you're never ever going to hear this from the blacks. You're definitely never ever going to hear this from these so-called community activists. Many of them are women. You're never ever going to hear this from the women because God forbid if the black woman ever has to hold herself accountable for her actions. Accountability in the black community is like kryptonite. And the reason being is because the blacks do not hold themselves to a standard. There are no standards in the black community. Black women can behave like sluts. They call it sexual liberation. They give it some type of buzzword to make it sound appealing, to make it sound as if black women have independence and are free, and yet you're supposed to still respect them as women. And these are the same women that wind up becoming single and unmarried, and older women who have nothing but a bunch of partners that they're saying are their partners, and really all these women are nothing but another man's slut as opposed to another man's wife. But they don't mind having a bunch of children out of wedlock as long as they know that they are getting a check from the government for it. When child tax credits come around, I mean when tax season comes around, that's the only time that they have joy being with their children, because they know that they're going to get a check for every single child that comes out of their womb out of wedlock. These women don't mind creating bastard children that wind up developing niggerish behavior, and they use that to then implode the very society that they're living in. A lot of the Black Lives Matter supporters, a lot of these men that are Black Lives Matter supporters who choose to follow a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians, they all embellish niggerish behavior that comes from the anger that they had that was created by their mothers. They all think that they're men, but they're all walking around with feminine energy. Emasculated men, men who did not have the opportunity to be led by a strong father figure. So these men carry the same mentality and the same mannerisms that you would see from a female. They are emotional, they are irrational, and they behave as such. This is where you get to see the black on black homicides occurring in the city of Philadelphia. It's filled with a bunch of blacks that have niggerish behaviors, angry, emotional, irrational blacks that are killing each other over nothing. If you were to ask them, why did you take this person's life? They couldn't tell you, other than the fact that they were angry and that they blacked out. Or they'll come up with some type of irrational, petty excuse as of why they decided to take another black person's life, such as, oh well, that black person was messing with my girlfriend. Again, irrational. This person owed me $10. Irrational. This person stared at me for 5 seconds. Irrational. Uh, this person owed me a drink, and he or she didn't get me a drink. This person bumped into me. This person stepped on my shoes. All irrational thoughts that are normally reserved for a woman. But because 77% of black babies are born without a father in the household, these men turn into something that is normally not reserved for a man to be, which is to be weak and emotional. So these men are your gang members, these men are your homosexuals, these men are weak pushovers, men that are normally domineered by black women, men that allow black women to assault them. I'll take it a step further. These are the same black men who, God forbid, if you ever speak against their mothers, the same black men that behave as if their black mothers are more of their husbands than their sons. And the black mother designed it that way because she knew she was too difficult to get on a man's page to be a worthy wife for that man. So she winds up having a child out of wedlock because of her selfish reasons, and then she winds up becoming the son's burden and making the son then take the role of what should have been her husband. So now her son has to act like her husband. Her son has to act like her protector and her provider. This is the reason why a lot of son husbands wind up not having a life, and they wind up becoming miserable because they have to now defend their mother every single time it deems that their mother are being attacked, even if it's warranted. Son husbands, it's real, and it's real in the black community. This is the reason why these black men are weak and pathetic. These black men will allow their mothers to talk down to them as if they are children, and these grown black men take it. No, no, no. Don't say anything about my mother. What? What did you say about my mother? Listen. One thing you need to know about black men that were raised by their mothers, don't speak about the mothers. Don't speak against their mothers. Unless you're looking for a physical confrontation with these men. These men get very emotional when it comes to their mothers. Weak men, the same weak men that will live in their mother's house forever, because we all know the black woman will never kick out the black woman will never kick out the sons. I mean, the grown sons in their house. We all know that the black woman won't do it. The black man will, but the black woman, oh no. Oh no, that's my baby. Her son could be 50 years old. That's my baby. He's staying at my house. That is my baby. That's my baby, and he's gonna have his babies there as well. Amazing. Amazing. And you wonder why they engage in niggerish behavior. Because it's pretty niggerish for you to take another man's life for no reason. And the blacks do it all the time. And yet this will never ever get brought up as of why the blacks are killing each other. This is why. This is the reason why the blacks are on drugs. This is the reason why the blacks commit homicide. This is the reason why there are more black men that are slut makers and are just loose with their seed and are impregnating a bunch of female and making and creating a bunch of sluts and a bunch of bastards on top of it. This is why. Niggerish behavior. And it came from the woman, the irresponsible woman who created her child by mistake. Remember, it was a mistake. She just happened to slip, trip, fall, and land on a black man's penis. And it happened. Yeah, and so did the niggerish behavior coming from your child. Now you got a bunch of angry bastard children running around creating havoc upon a city which are controlled by people who can care less about black people. They care more about appeasing to black people's feelings as opposed to actually solving actual problems. But that's the city of Philadelphia for you. All right. City council, vast majority of people black. You have a Democratic mayor that believes in appeasing the blacks. You have a DA who let out violent black criminals because they are unfairly being targeted for arrest and incarcerations. So what does Larry Krasner do? He lets the dogs out. He lets the dogs out that have previously engaged in niggerish behavior, have not shown to want to change their niggerish behavior, and then they go out and they do what? Engage in niggerish behavior. And what does it resolve? What does it result in? More homicides. Why do you think they are calling for the DA to be impeached? But Philadelphia, it is your problem. That is your problem. And you can come out with all the slogans that you want. The latest one, shoot basketballs, not people. I chuckle when I hear that because I don't see how that is going to stop the blacks from killing each other. Shoot basketballs, not people. It's comedy. I find it hilarious that people would actually take that seriously. Shoot basketballs because remember, that's all the blacks can do. Give them a basketball. Here's my guy right here. Absolutely. It is a dumb slogan. Absolutely. KBM, how are you doing, sir? So glad for you to join in. Absolutely. And this is the very thing that these people want you to believe in. That again, it's the system that is making blacks want to kill each other. Remember, it's the system. It's the system. It's white supremacy. It's racism. Yes, sir. Yes, they did. Shoot basketballs, not people. KBM, you can't make this stuff up. You really cannot make this stuff up. I find it hilarious that 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 these that I don't know if it's the fact that these people are just that naive, or if it's just that, or are people really um that dumb to not understand what the issue is. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, so basically the main so the topic is just it's blacks engaging in niggerish behavior and the reason why they are engaging in niggerish behavior. And when it comes down to it, that's the main issue in the black community. That's the main issue in within any race. But I mainly speak about the black race because blacks only make up 13% of the US population, yet they are responsible for 50% of the homicides that are committed in the United States of America. It's the blacks. It is the blacks that are their own stepping stone for counterproductive behavior in society. It's the blacks that are doing it to themselves. There's no such thing. Amazing. I'm doing very well, KBM. Thank you. And I hope that you're doing well too. As a matter of fact, I thank you for joining me late. I mean, I wanted to do this earlier, but obviously I had some things to take care of. But I'm glad that you guys were able to join me. Listen, I appreciate all of the people that are joining me. You could be anywhere else, but you're here with me, and I truly appreciate this. But I needed to say this to get this off of my chest because I felt that this is something that is going to occur, is going to continue to occur, and I want people to truly understand what's really happening in society today. If you guys do not already know, and I'm sure some of you already know what's going on, why this is happening, and what could be done to and what can be done. And I'm sure all of you that are that are here that are here right now, that are joining this broadcast, you guys know what needs to be done in order for the violence, for the gun violence to end, not just in Philadelphia, but in any other major city. We know what needs to be done. All right. And the main thing that needs to be done is the implementation of family needs to be the front center of these issues. The rebuilding of the family needs to be brought up. The rebuilding of the family. And I'm not talking about having a family of a single mother or or two so-called women or two so-called men. That's not a family. That is a fantasy. That's not a family. A nuclear family consists of a husband, a father, and children. That is what made society, and that's what continue to keep society progressing and not regressing. That's what needs to be implemented. Also, the main thing that needs to be implemented is that um, niggerish behavior like this needs to be punished. People need to be held accountable for their actions. But at the same time, while they're being held incarcerated for their actions, the truth of their behavior needs to be addressed. Stop lying to these people. Stop lying to them. Stop saying that systemic racism and white supremacy and lack of resources are the reason for their violent behavior. Tell them the truth. Be honest with these people. And the more you are honest with these people, the better their behavior will change. I'm sure that you can't save everybody. And I understand that. But most of these blacks that are angry, that constantly see themselves um in the criminal justice system, they want to change. And they want to know how they could be able to change. Well, if the truth is told about why they behave this way, then maybe they can work towards their change. Maybe if they were told that they shouldn't have grown up in a one parent household, that their mother should have made better choices with the type of men that she chose to procreate with. And then if they will get with the mother and then get the mother to have to allow these young men to have a relationship with their fathers, then maybe the behavior will be able to concede and they can become productive members in society. If we tell them not to choose welfare, but instead choose financial independence, have their parents put their children in the best position for them to succeed by giving them the ability of appreciating hard work and understanding that through hard work anything can be achieved. These are the things that can then be able to reduce the amount of behavior that you're seeing from the blacks that are counterproductive in their community and within society. I don't have a problem speaking out against the very issues that are occurring in the black community because it is the truth. And if you want to hear the truth, then the truth shall set you free. And there's no other way than the truth. And the truth of the matter is this: black people are not victims due to poor circumstances. Black people are victims due to poor choices. It's the poor choices that made them poor, and it's their poor choices that will keep them poor, keep them angry, and keep them becoming productive members in society, and instead engaging in the very topic above, niggerish behavior. Amazing. But thank you guys so much for joining me. It has been one heck of a night, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in into my live broadcast. Stay tuned for further content as I will be able to drop content probably sometime around this week. Trying to get back into the work of things with YouTube. Amazing. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And with that being said, this is the conservative, and I'm signing out. And for all of you guys, if you can, share the broadcast, get the word out. We really, really, really need to address this. And and I believe the more the truth comes out, then the more this will become the focal point of the solution to the so-called gun violence, not just in Philadelphia, but in other metropolitan cities that also have a fluctuation of blacks living within that area. We have to be honest because it's the honesty that will lead to the solution to the main issue at hand. It's been amazing. Have a great night and Godspeed. Amazing. Thank you guys.